Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Lily Aldrich.
And I'm meteorologist Aaron White, and thanks for joining us here on the 10 Weather Impact Show. We got a lot to talk about here today. We've been watching this system building in here for the last several days. We were watching it over the weekend. Of course, we had those severe weather outlooks here for today into tonight. And now we are here on Wednesday and watching some storms not far away already.
Yeah.
Going to see how that plays out here as we get later on.
Yeah, at the radar right now, we're actually starting to see storms brew up over Indianapolis and start making their way into our Ohio area. For the most part, these are going to continue lingering over into our area. So keep that in mind for later this afternoon. So for the most part, these coming in later this afternoon is going to keep lingering on until later this afternoon as well. Here's everything I'm watching, though. We've got a chance of seeing some severe storms later this afternoon, but tomorrow, after we get rid of all the severe storms later, it's going to be very breezy. But looking ahead, it's a nice end to the week. So for today's forecast, topping off right around 81 degrees. We do have that chance of seeing some showers later this afternoon and then severe ones coming in around midnight tonight. So keep that in mind. We're partly cloudy, though, up until around 4 p.m. today. It's going to be kind of nice outside. You've got like a light breeze out there, so just keep that in mind. If you have any chance to get outside, I would get out there in the next 2 hours. Maybe take the dog on a walk because it's a good time to do it before storms come in later. For the next 12 hours, though, we're topping off right around 80, like I said. 7, 8 o'clock, we might see a chance of having an initial round of showers move in, but the severe ones come in later that afternoon, this afternoon around midnight. So around your dinner time hours, you should still be okay. Maybe a lingering shower out there, but the real severeness comes in around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me time everything out for you. So for your rain chances, like I said, we've got that initial round of storms, and then by the time you hit 3 and 4 o'clock, these are actually should be a lot higher because we do have a really strong rain chance coming in today. But that's why we're weather impact alert today for tonight into tomorrow morning. Like I said, we have that main chance of having a couple isolated showers mushing in around 4 to 8 o'clock today. They're mainly going to be northwest of I-71, maybe a couple around I-70, but the main line of stronger storms comes in around midnight tonight up until 5 a.m. But we're going to keep you updated. We've got our full team coverage coming on tonight for you for tracking those storms. Here's our hour by hour, though. So this is that initial round I was telling you about. This is around 5:30 later this afternoon. Everything's pretty much above I-70, but for the most part, those kind of trickle away around 8 o'clock, and then the initial line kind of moves its way out. By the time we hit 11, 12 o'clock tonight, that's when the major storms come in. That's when we're looking to see more of a severe potential come in later tonight. So this is around midnight, 12:30. You start to see that line form in coming around Franklin County and push its way through. Kind of gets out of the area 3, 4 o'clock is what we're expecting to be pretty much out of the clear by the time you hit 5, 6 o'clock. We might have a lingering severe storm or two in the area, more in your southern counties, but by the time you wake up tomorrow, hopefully you should be all the way clear by the time you hit 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The next chance we're seeing for rain showers pretty much comes in on Friday, but this storm is going to bring in a good amount of rainfall. So that's that initial line I was telling you about around 1 a.m. So this is going to increase by the time you hit the rest of the night. By the time we get into Friday, Saturday, you're going to see a little bit more of that pop up. We're seeing this storm possibly giving you anywhere from an inch, 2 inches of rain for most of our area. So just keep that in mind. Our main threats are going to be in for strong wind gusts and mainly heavy rain. We can't rule out a chance for an isolated tornado or two. Not really focused on hail too much here. Mainly it's going to be those wind gusts and that heavy rain. So just keep that in mind. After we get rid of this severe storm round for our weather alert days, your Friday's looking quite nice. We're actually mostly sunny on Friday and into Saturday. So by the time you get into later this weekend, you've got some good couple days coming up. For tomorrow, though, after we get rid of these isolated storms, around 81 degrees, the rest of your day is looking pretty breezy, actually. We've got wind gusts of around 30, 35 miles per hour topping off. It's going to be a nice windy day, but we're not really going to be seeing any rain after that initial round of storms comes in through the morning. Our mugginess meter, though, kind of sitting around that comfortable range for the next few days. Still 60 in the humids by the time we get rid of those showers tomorrow, but your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, dew points are in the upper 50s. It's looking quite nice. By the time you hit Monday, we get back up into the 60s, though, and get a little bit more muggy. Here's your weekend weather, though. Saturday, like I said, Sunday, it's going to be quite nice. Sunday, though, that's when our rain showers start to come back in. That's the next chance of rain that we're forecasting for you. For the next 7 days, though, looking, like I said, Thursday kind of got that slight chance. Friday, Saturday, absolutely clear. And then Sunday is when the rain comes back in your forecast. Here's your 7 day, though. Our weather impact alert for Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Highs around 81 degrees, but clearing out by the time you hit Thursday afternoon or early morning, actually. So by the time you wake up 6, 7 a.m., you should be all good. Friday, Saturday, no chance chance of rain, absolutely dry. Looking beautiful for Juneteenth, around 78 degrees for your high. Sundays, we got that next chance of rain coming back in for your Father's Day and the first day of summer. And like I said, Monday, Tuesday, kind of nice high sitting in the mid to upper 60s through the end of next week.
Yeah, it's going to be, of course, interesting to see how things really play out as we get into the overnight hours here, as we are tracking those showers and storms coming in here for tonight into the early morning hours here on our Thursday. And then, of course, we got the sunshine here for Friday and Saturday. And, you know, cooler forecast. I mean, having 70s, it's not too bad.
Yeah, especially as we're getting into June, topping off right around 70, 75, 80 maybe in some areas. I feel like is that unusual for this time of year?
I mean, it's a little bit cooler. You know, our average high right around the lower 80s.
Yeah.
So to have some mid 70s, not totally unusual, but we'll take it. We'll take some lower humidity. Can't complain about that in early summer. But of course, with the chance for storms tonight, now is a good time to go over some safety reminders ahead of time. And with storms expected overnight, that means many of you will likely be sleeping. Emergency management experts and first responders say it's essential to have a plan. Be sure everyone in your home knows the safest place to shelter, a basement or an interior room away from windows. Keep a weather radio on alert mode and make sure your electronic devices are charged before you go to bed.
As Aaron mentioned, it's important to stay prepared for potential severe weather. And here are some other things you'll want to think about ahead of time. So make sure if any loose items in your yard are secured, and if you lose power, make sure you do have a game plan. Get flashlights ready and have a charger for your phone ready to go.
And one more reminder, you can download the free 10 TV news app to get weather alerts straight to your phone. You can also track the storms yourself using our live radar.
And like we said as well, we will be covering all severe coverage throughout tonight. But it's not just severe weather season here across the U.S. We're starting to push into hurricane season as well.
Yeah, and thankfully we are getting some positive news about our ability to track hurricanes with a bipartisan Senate bill that aims to triple the size of Hurricane Hunter fleet. The current fleet consists of 3 hulking and aging aircraft that fly directly into hurricanes and tropical storm systems to measure their intensity. The bill introduced on Wednesday would give the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration $2.5 billion to buy at least 6 new planes.
There's also an additional $45 million per year to hire more specialized pilots to fly them. But on top of that, the measure would codify NOAA's reconnaissance and research role into law, thus giving it protection from Washington's Bureau. And those hurricane hunters may soon have a new mission, as Tropical Storm Arthur is now officially named. And me and meteorologist Aaron White, I know you're keeping a close eye on everything going on with this storm.
Yeah, I've been watching this activity here for the last couple of days as we had this circulation actually developing over land right around Mexico into southern Texas. And now it has made its way into the Gulf of Mexico and actually has intensified, becoming a system that we are tracking now, Tropical Storm Arthur. So as we look at the overview of the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific, most of the ocean, pretty quiet, but the system they're watching, of course, again, is in the Gulf of Mexico right now. So here's a look at Tropical Storm Arthur, currently actually situated just off the coast, right along the coast there of Texas. And this is a tropical storm with winds of 45 miles per hour, moving to the northeast at 9. And we are seeing some gusts here at around 60, right around the center of circulation. And one thing you'll notice that is actually sort of interesting here is the center of circulation there right along the Gulf Coast. But notice the satellite here, all that moisture actually a bit further to the east of the circulation. So this is where some of the heaviest of the rain is going to be, at least right now. But as that system continues to move inland, it's going to bring that heavy rainfall inland as well. And that's going to be a concern here for southeastern Texas into Louisiana, southern Mississippi as we go through today and going into the day tomorrow. As we look at the excessive rainfall outlook right around New Orleans and over towards the west around Beaumont, Port Arthur into the actually the area around New Orleans, basically southeastern Louisiana, Baton Rouge, and areas around Jackson, Mississippi as well. That's going to be building towards the north and east, bringing that threat for some very heavy rainfall here as we go through today, tonight, and even into the day tomorrow. So good portions of Louisiana. Thankfully, this is not a strong system that's going to be, leaving any devastation in terms of what we see with some of those powerful hurricanes, but anytime we get heavy rainfall, flooding is going to be a big concern here as we go through the next 2 days.
Thanks, Aaron. And with all the moisture Arthur is going to be bringing through, millions of Americans along the Gulf are kind of bracing for more torrential rain that could lead to life-threatening flash flooding events. Yeah,
and we've already seen some of this week. Heavy downpours have turned streets into waterways. CBS's News' Jason Allen reports from Galveston, Texas, with the latest.
Heavy rainfall pounded the Gulf Coast again on Tuesday. In Mississippi, water inundated neighborhoods, roads, and parking lots, leaving cars like this one stranded. Communities in Louisiana also saw flooding. In DeRidder, people had to wade through waist-high water.
Good Lord, they got a lakefront view.
Cities in Texas didn't catch a break either, as floodwater rushed across roads and made driving treacherous.
Even after the rain has stopped, this much rain in this short amount of time is still a problem. Here it's draining down a driveway, then going to the end of the street.
In Tomball, north of Houston, we met Justin Milne, who's concerned about what more rain could mean for his neighborhood.
It definitely makes you worry between all the roads and all the houses being built. The roads really can't take the rain like this.
Not for a sustained period of time, for multiple days.
No.
And in Houston, city officials said they're prepared for even more rain and urged caution.
The turnaround, don't drown is very, very important. And people need to realize that water can come up very, very fast, and we may not be able to get to you as quickly as you think.
Jason Allen, CBS News.
From heavy rains to fires from the lack of any rain, we continue to see a stark difference in the haves and the have-nots around the country.
That's right, and we are actually seeing that pattern even continue in the south as well. Parts of Florida, this new video in this afternoon showing a brush fire burning near Interstate 75 on Tuesday, sending heavy smoke over a residential neighborhood in western Miami-Dade County. This is actually in the southeastern part of the state or in Florida. Drone footage showing the flames burning near homes and major roadways while an emergency helicopter circled overhead.
Isabella Garcia, a Miami resident originally from Venezuela, said she became concerned after seeing reports of the fire on social media while at work and left early to check on her pets and home. Another resident, Angel Barcella, described the fire as the largest he had ever witnessed. Despite the smoke, residents continued their evening activities, including some playing basketball outdoors as the sun set behind the fire.
And out west this afternoon, a new warning from CAL FIRE. The state is heading into an above average peak wildfire season.
But this year, some local agencies, including Marin County Fire, will have extra resources thanks to a PG&E's helicopter fleet. Kenny Choi has a look at how the partnership could save homes and even lives.
When a wildfire erupts in Marin County, it's this Black Hawk helicopter that will take off. The time it takes firefighters to reach the initial flames is critical.
California is like a barrel of gunpowder, and it just takes a single ignition to ignite.
Marin County Fire Chief Jason Weber can deploy one of PG&E's 4 Black Hawk helicopters. Pilots can find a water source near the blaze, drop 1,000 gallons of water, rinse and repeat for hours if needed. Compare that to a fire engine, which can only hold about 500 gallons.
When we can put more resources on a fire quicker, our odds improve of saving homes and lives. And this helicopter is all about that.
PG&E transmission lines and equipment have been responsible for igniting some of California's most destructive wildfires over the last decade. Marin Fire deployed this UH-60 Blackhawk to make nearly 500 drops last season compared to just 22 3 years ago. Sumit Singh is CEO of PG&E.
It really takes the collective us with the fire agencies, the utilities, as well as local leaders to be able to help reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfires. And we see this helicopter program as one of multiple layers.
Singh says PG&E is committing at least $8 million this year for 4 of its helicopters to be on standby and to be deployed by fire agencies. 2 of the choppers are assigned to Butte and Merced County with a spare in reserve. It's the 4th year the company is partnering with counties, including Marin.
We need more of this, not less, and it needs to be a sustained operation.
Weber says an additional resource like this can minimize the spread of a wildfire, along with CAL FIRE's aerial attacks and ground support when a blaze erupts.
As we've seen in the fire seasons in the last 10 years, they're longer, they're stronger, they're more destructive.
The helicopter will be stationed at Noss Field in Novato, but can be deployed to other counties when needed.
Having this as an available resource and supporting those ground troops is essential.
And we continue to get closer this afternoon to our nation's 250th anniversary, and that means it's time for another look back at how weather has changed our history.
Evan Stewart from our sister station, WVEC, is taking a look back at how Mother Nature has changed America. And today that means looking back on the hard winter of 1780.
The winter of 1780 has been called the hard winter. Temperatures plunged for weeks, freezing harbors along the Atlantic coast all the way down to the Carolinas. And this all happened during the Revolutionary War. And with the extreme cold came a serious new threat, potentially turning a natural defensive barrier into a route for invasion. Now, the Hudson River was normally a defensive barrier, was a moat protecting George Washington's army. But in 1780, it froze solid. In some places, the ice was thick enough for soldiers, horses, and even artillery to cross, forming a temporary bridge between British-occupied New York City and the Patriot-held New Jersey. And both sides used the frozen river for raids during the winter. Washington attempted a surprise attack in January across the ice, while British troops launched destructive cavalry raids in February. Now, with the Continental Army weakened, a full British assault across the frozen Hudson might have ended the war. Fortunately for Washington, the British were also paralyzed by the cold, and they focused on survival. So the same brutal cold that created danger also held the British back. Another example of how weather shaped the course of American history.
Finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. First up, a pair of rescued grizzly bear brothers named Scout in Montana spent the day exploring, wrestling, and playing in man-made snow added to their habitat to recreate conditions that they might experience in the wild, according to the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.
And Scout in Montana were rescued as cubs near Yellowstone National Park after they and their mother repeatedly accessed unsecured food in areas used by people. The cubs were brought to the San Diego Zoo in 2007 and have been a guest favorite ever since. Oh, it's just fun to see them just playing around in the snow. Yeah.
I wonder if they know that it's artificially made.
Right. They're just having a good time.
Oh my gosh. And finally today, check this out. A visual and visceral performance was nearly upstaged when a fountainous Kailua volcano eruption in Hawaii was crashed by a small tornado-like vortex that spun up right next to the lava light show.
Yeah, just wild to see that. We see this sometimes. We've had this on the show with the Kilauea volcano erupting, and you'll get those whirlwinds, but that's one of the larger ones I've seen. And we have seen numerous eruptions over the past year from Kilauea, but these volcano tornadoes are volnadoes, basically, are certainly a little bit more rare. Definitely to see that dramatic sight there.
Aaron, I don't know the last time I heard you say volnado.
Volnadoes, yeah, that's a new one for me. But again, you know, these happen periodically because you get that intense heat with the cooler air around the volcano, creating that big pressure and temperature difference, allowing for those whirlwinds. But to see a large one like that, definitely pretty dramatic. So yeah, some wild stuff out there in Hawaii that we're there with the Kilauea volcano. But of course, our weather is going to be a bit interesting here as we go through the next I'd say 12 to 18 hours with those storms rolling in.
Especially with our weather impact alert that we issued tonight, midnight into tomorrow morning. You want to keep that in mind that we do have a possibility of seeing some strong to very severe storms pushing through our area. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be in your overnight hours. So we'll stay updated with you here on 10 TV and with all of your updates.
Yeah, and we'll be watching that threat for damaging wind gusts and even potential for heavy rainfall leading to some flooding, and can't rule out even a tornado here overnight. So again, just make sure you have ways to stay alerted to any severe weather as you're going to bed here tonight, just making sure you have a way to get woken up in case there is some severe weather threatening your area. And that will do it for us here on the 10 Weather Impact Show. Coming up later on this afternoon, Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer is in, tracking the latest on the storms, and we'll have more updates here online at 10tv.com.